Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of Sports Talk Philadelphia. I'm your host, Tyler Harper. This is our last episode before our LaSalle spring break, so obviously we're going to give you a good episode, and we've got a good panel to deliver it. We've got Isaac Perry III, Tommy McIntyre, and Andrew Albert down there making his return to the STP desk. Good to have you back, Andrew.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So let's jump right in and let's get started talking some orange and black. The Philadelphia Flyers, this past Thursday, got off to a rocky start of a homestand as, of course, they stumbled against the Buffalo Sabres, losing 3-2 in a shootout. So they needed a good weekend, and luckily they had good opponents to do it against. And they started against Nashville with Peter Laviolette making his return to the Wells Fargo Center. Tommy McIntyre and I actually went down and got footage of the game. So let's take a look and see what we got. Peter Laviolette made his return to the Wells Fargo Center on Saturday, but it wasn't exactly a happy homecoming as the Flyers beat his new team, the Nashville Predators, 3-2 in a shootout.
Strange to be back in this building?
Not really, no.
What did you feel about the reception you got earlier?
That was nice. The fans have always been great, with me, and that was nice.
Shootouts are shootouts. I pick guys and watch. I don't have an answer for that. I don't shut my eyes, but I felt good after Jake scored right away, though. I thought Zepp looked confident, to be honest with you.
Grab that last save there, and you really enjoyed it. You had a heck of a celebration.
Yeah, I might have overdone it a bit, but I just got caught up in the moment. You make that save, and the game's over, and it's always fun to make a little glove save there. And I was just pretty excited. The guys battled so hard all night, and I knew how much the 2 points meant to the team, and just really happy to get those.
Unfortunately, we don't play like that every night, and we've got to figure out a way to play that way against teams that are below us and around the same as us. But I think we just focus in and we hone in on kind of what we need to do, and we keep it more simple. We don't try to do anything extra, and it worked out.
They've come a long ways. Got a long way to go. Guys have been resilient, working hard, doing a lot of the little things that are needed to do it, and we've gotten some really good goaltending that's helped us win some games. With Mason out.
It'll be no rest for the weary as less than 24 hours later, the Flyers will take to the ice and take on Eastern Conference rival, the Washington Capitals. I'm Tyler Harper for LaSalle TV. All right, so you see there the Flyers picking up a big win, a rare shootout win. I was very surprised when that happened. A rare shootout win at home, a clean sweep, 2 goals, 2 saves by Zepp, and they did good. And then the next day, less than 24 hours later, they take on the Washington Capitals, and then another big 3-2 win against the Capitals with Delzato scoring a late goal in the final minutes of the third. But then, just this past week, the Flyers traveled to Carolina to take on the Hurricanes. And the results weren't pretty. The Carolina Hurricanes outplayed the Flyers basically the whole 60 minutes. Isaac, we'll start with you. Any idea why the Flyers play down to these lower teams? Because Carolina's already out of the playoffs, and the Flyers made them look like Stanley Cup champions.
That seems to be the Flyers' MO. Like, they always do well against the good teams, and then they go out there and they lay an egg against the teams that they're supposed to be. Then it's not the first time this has happened. If the Flyers are going to make the postseason, they're going to have to beat the teams that they're supposed to beat, plain and simple.
Yeah. It's a shame to see that. Especially when you get wins against the Capitals and the Predators as well. It's a shame to see them kind of just go down to that level. But, it makes you realize that they are not a playoff team right now. And I think that's kind of the realization is that it's just, I don't think this season's going to be a playoff bid.
Yeah, I think Flyers fans are starting to realize that this is not a playoff hockey team. At times they look like they deserve to be, a 3 or a 4 seed, like the game against the Predators. They looked really good in that game. Then they go down to Carolina and lay an egg, like you said. But I think it's time to blow it up. I think they have to make some moves before the trade deadline to even fathom making a run in the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, especially considering Kimmo Timonen, we'll talk about him in a little bit, but he's trying to get back this coming Saturday against the Rangers, and if that's the case, that gives you 8 or 9 healthy defensemen, like NHL-worthy defensemen. That's not good. You got to clear at least one of those names out. So, Andrew, you think they need to make at least one or two of those moves?
I think if Timonen comes in and plays well, they should move him. Like if he's a hot commodity, right? He plays 2 good games. Move him at the deadline. They could get someone. There's guys that need big defensemen out west. He's I don't want to say a hazard because of his health risks, but you don't know how many more years you're going to get from him. Ship him off while he's hot.
Yeah, not only that, but like when he signed that 1-year extension, he came out and said, like, this is going to be my last year. So why not give the guy the respect he deserves and send him out to a playoff contender? I mean,
there's plenty of teams that could use him.
Yeah, especially if they give you at least a decent offer, you've got to take that risk. Because again, you need to clear some names out because you can't just stack your team with defensemen.
You got to plan for the future because right now the way they are with their contracts, they're in bad shape for the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, Ron Hextall knew that coming in too. Coming in, he had he knew he didn't have much wiggle room in the cap room, which is why really the only big move they made in the offseason was signing Michael Del Zotto and Nick Schultz to add some defensive depth because they knew they couldn't get a superstar and they knew they couldn't really pull off a big trade because, I mean, even though they moved Scott Hartnell for R.J. Umberger, nothing really happened with that.
Right.
So, again, going back to the fact that this upcoming Saturday, both Kimmo Timonen and Steve Mason appear to be coming back, how much do you think that'll help, or do you think it might be just too little too late?
I think that will help a lot because Steve Mason, he is a bona fide #1 goalie, so I feel like that will help. Kimmo Timonen is 38, 39 years old, so he's the leader of the locker room, so I think that will help a lot. I wouldn't blow the thing up necessarily yet. I mean, because you're still 4 points out with Boston losing, so you still have a little bit of time. Not a lot of time, though.
Yeah, but what's the point if you're going to be an 8 seed?
Yeah,
well,
so
you have they have a really good farm system right now. They have a lot of good pieces sitting in Lehigh Valley that they can use in the next 3 or 4 years. Why not blow it up, pave the way for them to?
So which is why Isaac, I'm gonna start with you with this. I was hoping to get to this. I mean, I agree with Andrew. I don't think the Flyers are a playoff team. They're too inconsistent, and again, it's not worth it to get an 8 seed. Do you think they should still try to get that 8th, or maybe, if by some stroke of luck, 7th seed?
The only reason why I think that they should get the number 7 or 8 seed is because I feel like they could be some of the top teams in the East. Like all you guys know that when they play Pittsburgh, they always play them very good.
Well, yeah,
then they actually do dominate them.
But then let me counter that with a couple years ago in 2012. They beat Pittsburgh in 6 games. We were all great, all fine and dandy. But then they faced the New Jersey Devils, and they were not motivated at all. They were just exhausted, and the Devils, I mean, obviously the Devils made the Eastern Conference Finals that year, but if they were at least half as motivated as they were playing the Penguins, they probably could have taken them to task and possibly won that series.
Yeah, they need to be realistic about it. Do you want to be a 6, 7, 8 seed for the next 3 or 4 years and just coast along and then have to rebuild, or do you want to rebuild now and maybe 3 or 4 years from now get to be where you need to be in the 1, 2, 3, 4 spots in the playoffs? That's a decision that Hextall needs to make, Snyder needs to make, and I don't know if they're equipped to do it right now.
You know, it's actually really funny that, I mean, the team we're going to talk about in a little bit, the Philadelphia 76ers, the team they share a building with, they did blow it up. So, I mean, again, we'll get to them in a little bit. But again, on the line, again, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Just a yes or no, maybe like a sentence or two why. Isaac, do you think they're making the playoffs, the Flyers?
Yes, because I've seen stranger things happen, and a couple years ago they beat the Rangers in a shootout to qualify for the playoffs, and they went all the way to the Stanley Cup.
Tommy, real quick, yes or no? Flyers making the playoffs?
I'm gonna say no. I think it's gonna be close. I think they may make a little run, but I say they're not gonna get.
Andrew?
No, and they should sit Mason until he's 100% healthy.
I agree with that thinking. But again, we move on to the team that shares that building with the Philadelphia Flyers, the Philadelphia 76ers. And of course, last week, an hour before our show started, all of those trades went down. So this week, we're going to break them down, these trades down bit by bit, and just kind of a thumbs up, thumbs down. Do we like what Sam Hinkie did? So let's start with trade number 1, the Sixers and the Denver Nuggets. The Sixers get JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee. And a first-round pick from Oklahoma City, which is top 18 protected this year. I believe top 15 protected next year, correct? And then after that, it's unprotected. And the Nuggets get, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this guy's name right, Sank Aol. Just
no one knew they had this dude.
Nobody knew they had this guy. But Andrew, I want to start with you with this trade. As soon as the day started with this trade, and I really liked it because this is a steal if I've ever seen one.
This
Andrew?
is a no-lose trade. You get a draft pick in JaVale McGee who can help your team. I mean, granted, he's had problems in the past. He can still help your team, and you get a first-round draft pick for some dude that no one had ever heard of. And
again, nobody knew this guy was on the team.
Literally, what could go wrong here?
Say it one more time. You're right.
Nobody knew this guy?
Nothing can go wrong with this trade. Absolutely nothing.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I don't know if there's really much to add with that, but Tommy?
Yeah, I mean, you figure getting Sam Hickey even said in his press conference after all these trades went down that this trade was not JaVale McGee. This trade was for that Oklahoma City pick. And like you're saying, it's top 18 protected this year. It's going to be top 15 protected for, I believe, the next 2 years. And if we don't get it then, it turns into 2nd-round picks. We're not going to get. It's not going to be like unprotected. It's not going to be just like you can get the top pick. It's going to turn to like 2nd-round picks if we don't get it then. But this year, Oklahoma City's playing better. If Kevin Durant comes back, gets a little healthy, they get our run. We may see the pick this year, and that could be a big move. Right now, it's still up in the air. Maybe 46er, we get the pick now.
Sixers will see the pick this year.
Yeah, I think so too. Oklahoma City's too good to be inside the bottom 18
They have
in the league.
2 of the 5 best players in the NBA right now on their team. They're not going to not make a run.
They have
to
2 of the
playoffs.
front runners named Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook for MVP.
Exactly.
I highly doubt that we're not going to see that pick in the next, at least in the next 2 years, definitely. So with that, we move on to trade number 2. And of course, this was the trade that got everyone's attention. The Sixers get the Lakers' first-round pick, which is top 5 protected this year, top 3 protected next year. Year after that, if it's still hanging around, it belongs to the Sixers. But the Milwaukee Bucks get Michael Carter Williams. Yes, Rookie of the Year, Michael Carter Williams. I mean, guys, we were talking about it a little pre-show, but Isaac, we'll start with you. Do you like Sixers trading the Rookie of the Year?
Yes, I did. I liked it 100%. I say that because Michael Carter Williams, he was taking number 11, but if you look at some of his flaws, he is not a very good shooter, and he's turnover prone. So you'd have to think that as far as the Lakers pick goes, the Lakers are not going to be better anytime soon. Kobe Bryant is getting older by the day. The Lakers are not going to be the Lakers of yesterday. So with that being a top 5 pick, I think that top 5 pick is going to be even better than Michael Carter Williams.
Yeah, I mean, I don't not like the trade. I like the trade. I mean, I guess it's just gonna depend on who do we get for that pick. I mean, is that pick in a trade for someone else, maybe a star down the line? Is that gonna just be a pick that we wind up taking somebody for and taking somebody with? So I mean, I guess it's a wait and see kind of thing for me.
I love the trade. I mean, Michael Carter Williams, yeah, he was Rookie of the Year, but he's not that good. He's not a top 20 point guard in this league.
Worst Rookie of the Year stats in 10 years.
Exactly.
And also, like you just said, he's not a top 10 or top 15 guard. He has the deepest position in basketball. Like you got the Derrick Roses and Kyrie Irvings and so on. And he's like in the bottom third. I have to be honest. Like he's the bottom third. Like, yes, he can stuff a stat sheet, like you said, but he's not the long-term answer for the Sixers.
No, not even close. And point guard is the most replaceable position on the court, especially with this draft. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it later on.
Yeah.
D'Angelo Harrison and all those guys that are going to come up. There's no reason that if Hinkie really was taking offers for him since he got drafted, this is the best scenario you could ever get.
Right.
Ever.
And with that, let's move on to the final trade the Sixers made with the Houston Rockets, as the Sixers get a 2nd-round pick and Isaiah Cannon, and the Rockets get KJ McDaniels. Now, this was interesting because KJ McDaniels was probably one of, if not the most exciting player on the Sixers roster before he was traded, of course, with all those dunks. And obviously he was a little rocky with headlines with like the 1-year deal, and of course his mom tweeting up a storm about how they hate Philadelphia and the plan. But Tommy, we'll start with you. Do you like this move?
This is probably the one that like you're not really gonna love. I mean, you get a 2nd-round pick and you get Isaiah Cannon, who's unproven. Sam Hinkie in his press conference said he really liked this guy. He said that he wanted to draft him if the Rockets didn't. So he likes him. But I mean, KJ McDaniels was nice, and this has a lot more to do, I think, with his contract situation since he did only sign for that 1-year deal.
Yeah, I think he was going to be out of here anyway.
It's a straight-up roster move. I mean, you hate to see KJ go because he did bring excitement to the team and made it way more watchable. But he was going to ask for way too much money, and they were going to get nothing for him after the season.
Exactly.
So basically, they picked up a 2nd-round draft pick for nothing, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah. Isaac, do you have anything to add on that?
I often ask had he signed the normal 4-year deal for people, would the Sixers still have gotten rid of him?
He'd still be
signed
here.
The 4-year deal?
He'd still be
100%.
here.
He'd still be here.
He'd still be here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, we kind of figured KJ'd be gone, but nevertheless, that's all the moves the Sixers made, and really, that's all we need to talk about the Sixers right now.
A+, Sam Hinkie, A+.
Yeah, I'll give A+.
We know what this team's going to be. We at least still somewhat know, again, what this direction's going to be, and it's going to take time. So buckle up. It's going to be a long ride with the Philadelphia 76ers. But with that, we move on to a team we haven't talked about in a few weeks, the Philadelphia Eagles, as their name has come up in the rumor mill as Byron Maxwell, the number 2 corner from the Legion of Boom, the Seattle Seahawks. He's going to be a free agent. And you see there his stats, 82 combined tackles, 6 interceptions. And reports are the Philadelphia Eagles are the front runners for Byron Maxwell. Of course, again, the former member of the Legion of Boom, Super Bowl champion. Guys, he might be a bit pricey, but how necessary do you think it is to go out and get Byron Maxwell?
He is definitely a great upgrade for the Eagles secondary. He's a terrific man-to-man person, press coverage. It just depends on the money situation. He is not what I would classify as one of the elite cornerbacks, probably just because he plays alongside Richard Sherman. And let's not forget that he wasn't a starter until last year when Brandon Flowers got suspended. So I wouldn't break the bank on him, kind of like how we did with Nnamdi Asomugha a couple years ago. But, I would still give him the some money in there.
You said the name Nnamdi Asomugha, and I shuddered a little bit. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Tommy, do you think we should go after Maxwell?
$60 million. Yeah, I think Isaac. I mean, the money's definitely there. It's like, what are you going to pay for him? What is the price tag on this guy? And obviously, our secondary desperately needs help. So anything that's going to help is going to be really important. But it's just a matter of, do we feel this guy's going to fit our scheme, and is the price going to fit?
You got to go get a corner. You can't rely on the draft. Corner is not a position where you can rely on a draft and expect a rookie to come in and contribute. You look at the great corners in the league, the Darrell Reeveses, the Richard Shermans. They didn't start getting really good until their 3rd or 4th year. Corners need time to adjust to the speed, the strength of NFL receivers. It's just plain and simple. So if the Eagles are expecting to build through the draft, they have to be looking 3 or 4 years down the road. They can't be looking for now. And I think this team, this defense is built to win now, especially with the way the front 7 lines up. But they have to go out and get him, in my opinion. I think he is the key to the defense.
He's 27, so, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and speaking of moves the Eagles could possibly make in the secondary, a lot of rumors have been swirling around about this man, Cary Williams. His stats last year, 60 combined tackles, 2 interceptions. But the Eagles could save $6.5 million if they cut him. So maybe if they cut him, that money could possibly go towards a Byron Maxwell. Isaac, should they cut him?
I would only cut him if you do not upgrade the other side of the cornerback position in some capacity, because there is no way that you can go out there next year and have Cary Williams and Bradley Fletcher as your 2 cornerbacks. If you can upsize the other cornerback position, I say bring him back. But if not, he has to go.
I'm going to disagree with you. I would say if you upgrade the other one, you got to get rid of him. And that's when you build through the draft, because you have an established corner on one side. You bring in a new guy to learn from him, like a Marcus Peters from Washington. I know he's kind of had off-the-field issues, but it's kind of he's the perfect corner for the Eagles system. I think they got to go out and get him if they upgrade and get Byron Maxwell.
Again, the other thing too is it's a money issue. Like,
right.
I mean, Bradley Fletcher, whose contract I believe is up anyway. Like, obviously you let him go for nothing, because I mean, I don't see why they would want him back. Nobody else does.
In no capacity.
But then if you cut Cary Williams, I mean, I'm not saying it's a be-all end-all, but I mean, $6.5 million is $6.5 million that you could put again towards Byron Maxwell. Say, hey, we could pay you that extra bit of money if you can make our secondary something like what it was in Seattle.
And there are good corners in this draft. I mean, like I said, you just don't want them. You don't want to throw them in that position now. But if you have an established guy on the other side, I mean, the possibilities are really endless. I don't know. I've always had a soft spot for Cary Williams. I really like the guy. Call me crazy, but.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's taught us so many things, like what sconces are.
I know. I mean, he's an all-knowing narrator.
He's an all-knowing narrator.
Hey, he can speak. I mean.
Of anything that Cary Williams could be called, I don't know if that would be it. But, hey, I mean, he wasn't bad.
He just speaks the truth. He tells it how it is. If he messes up, he says, I messed up. Yeah. If someone else messes up, he says, they messed up. He's very down to earth. I think that's someone that a locker room needs, honestly, because guys rally around a guy like that, and they respect him a lot because he doesn't BS. I mean, am I allowed to say that? Yeah. He doesn't do that. So he is down to earth. Guys they relate to him, and they want to say that, but there's a lot of factors that kind of hold them back.
But
I'm sorry. We got to move on because there's another interesting story that we've got to get to real quick. Peter King, of course, Monday Morning quarterback, famous article. He wrote this narrative that you'll see on the screen. Of course, I don't expect you to read it all so quick. But basically, the Redskins and the Eagles make a deal for that 5th pick, and the Eagles get it for their first 2 picks this year, a 1 and a 4 next year. Andrew, I know you're kind of opinionated on this matter. You don't think this is going to happen, do
This
you?
is ridiculous. He's comparing moving up for a possible franchise quarterback to giving them Donovan McNabb at the end of his career. Like, I just don't understand how those two are parallel. Like,
They're not.
They're not at all. Like, the Redskins aren't just going to move aside and be like, oh, here you go. He goes, like, we're struggling at the quarterback position. But here you go. You take Marcus Mariota, please. Take him off our hands.
Well,
Please.
apparently RG3's their starter. So
Yeah, we'll see about that week
Yeah.
3.
Considering they still have Kirk Cousins, I believe they still have Colt McCoy.
And RG3 still gets hurt every season.
Yes, he does.
That is very true. So, Tommy, real quick,
Yeah, I mean,
there's no way this happens, right?
Not even. I just hope it doesn't. I'm not the highest on. I'm just not as high on Marcus Mariota as other people are. That's just not the guy I want to see as my quarterback. I just am not as high on him as other people are.
All right, we'll see what happens with Marcus Mariota. Again, until Roger Goodell says a name for another team, I don't see Chip not going after him. But with that, we go on to the Philadelphia Phillies. Yay, they're still projected to get about 90 losses this year, guys. But everyone's in camp, including Chase Utley, who held his press conference and revealed that he sprained his ankle back in January. The news just keeps getting better for the Philadelphia Phillies, guys. So, I mean, he claims he's working around it, and he claims if he has couple extra days off here and there that he should be ready to go for the season. But Isaac, we'll start with you. How concerned are you about Chase Utley? Because I think any injury concern is a concern for Chase at this point.
Yeah, this may be a big problem because all the years prior and even now that he's gotten hurt, he has missed significant time. So he says that he's going to be fine, he's going to work around it, but I think that is a big problem.
No, it's definitely a big problem. I mean, we remember a couple years ago when he hurt his knee coming into spring training, and then he winds up not playing.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what happened? I thought this was like a little thing. It turns out it's a serious problem. So any injury with Chase, at least, definitely really serious.
Yeah, especially with an ankle injury, you have to rely on your knees more. And I'm surprised they're not dust at this point. So it's always a concern with his knees because he could miss a season just like that.
Yeah, it's really scary. But again, we'll see with Chase. Now moving on, Jonathan Papelbon, the riff sunshine that he is, he held his press conference and proceeded to kind of throw shots at the organization. And he claims he's not alone in the sense that he's not happy with this rebuild motivation, and that he and a couple veterans, I believe he named like Cole Hamels, Chase Utley, maybe Cliff Lee, would have a sit-down session with the front office of Ruben Amaro Jr. and Pat Gillick. Andrew?
Why would they be happy? I mean, they came here to win championships. They came here in between the time when the Phillies were good, and now they're not. No, every player wants to win championships. That's why they play the game. I mean, yeah, they play it for money too, but when it comes down to it, they're all fierce competitors and want to win championships. When they know there is a 0% shot of them winning a World Series this year, what's the point for them? Especially as they age and they want to win more before they can't play anymore. I mean, they realize that they have a biological clock ticking in their head, that they only have a couple of years left. We want to make the most out of this, and Philadelphia is not where they're going to do it right now.
Yeah, Tommy, real quick.
Yeah, I agree with Andrew. I mean, I think that's basically what they're all going through their heads right now is that the Phillies just the plan is I mean, talk about the Sixers plan rebuilding. The Phillies is even worse.
I believe the Sixers have a plan.
I know, yeah. I don't even know what the Phillies' plan is right now because their farm system is depleted. So, I mean, I don't know.
It's starting to get up there again.
It's still got a ways to go.
It does still have
Crawford.
J.B. Crawford, Aaron Nola,
Yeah,
who of course was just drafted last year.
You have good pieces. It's just, I mean, it's really top heavy. Like, you have a really good top 10,
exactly.
and the rest are just really bad.
Yeah, that's a good point. So again, obviously, we'll keep you updated on the Philadelphia Phillies as their season starts soon. But it is Fast Five time here on SportsTalk Philadelphia. Andrew, we're going to start with you. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, very interested in Jameis Winston. And apparently are very interested in considering taking him with that number 1 overall pick over Mariota. Which of those two would you rather have?
Winston or Mariota?
Yeah.
Oh, Mariota.
That's what I was thinking too.
I mean, that's not even a question. Winston's got off the field issues that, like, I mean, it's Florida, weird stuff happens down there, but still, that's inexcusable. He just doesn't seem like a character guy that you want on leading your football team, especially because he really didn't prove very much to me in college. I mean, he had really good players around him at Florida State. Yeah, he did win a national championship and everything, but he has the physical aspects, but I think the mental side is really going to hold him back, a.k.a. Johnny Football.
Yeah, not only that, but like, it just still surprised me that Tampa's even considering him at this point. I don't know. Whatever. Again, it's Florida.
That's why they're Tampa Bay.
Yeah, whatever. Isaac, over under 2 seasons left for Ryan Sandberg as Phillies manager. Over or under?
Over.
Over? All right, fine. 3 years. Got you marked down.
3 years.
All right,
3 years.
Tommy, Pat Burrow will be the Phillies Wall of Fame inductee this year.
Yes.
Does he deserve it? I think he deserves it.
I mean, Pat Burrell was always a player that you watched, and he was just like, you were mad at him when he just would strike out or just have like long swings of just like, what are you doing? And then he would have other times where you're like, yes. And especially, I mean, he has the hit that basically won us the World Series. Yeah. He has that hit, that one single hit in that World Series was the one that basically gave us that World Series in a sense.
In that 2.5 inning sprint.
Yeah, that video of him and Chase Utley sliding down on New Year's is just priceless.
I couldn't agree with you more, but I don't know how much more we can talk about that on here. Back to Andrew Albert. How many teams from the City Six make the NCAA tournament, and name them?
I think Temple and Villanova do. LaSalle's not going to unless they make a miraculous run in the A-10 tournament. Drexel's so far out. Temple and Villanova will be, and Penn is just a lost cause. And St. Joe's is going to be a lost cause soon.
I agree with that. And lastly, Tommy, the Sixers currently have 12 wins. Over under 20 wins for the Sixers this year.
It's going to be under, especially
after
those trades. It just unless their defense has just fallen off so much when you get rid of KJ McDaniels with that length and that ability, the athletic ability, and then Cary Williams is a lot better defensively. Now they're stuck with like 6-foot guards to play the 1 and 2 positions. So their offense got a little better, but their defense is falling apart.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So that wraps us up for this week. Again, we have off next week due to our spring break, but March 12th, we've got a big show coming your way as we got our Phillies preview show coming up, and we've got a special guest, Pat Allen, editor-in-chief of PhilliesNation.com, will be coming in to join us to break down, speaking of lost causes, the Philadelphia Phillies, just seeing what the future holds for this team. It'll be very interesting to see what happens, but I'm very excited to have Pat on, and it should be a fun time on March 12th when we come back in 2 weeks. But that does it for us here. But again, you can catch up with us on social media. Hit us up on Facebook, Twitter. We post all our full episodes on YouTube. Or email us at lasalletv@lasalle.edu. Again, hit us up with suggestions or whatever the case may be. Or if you just like the show, we'd be more than happy to hear from you. So again, that does it for us this week. For Andrew, Tommy, and for Isaac, I'm Tyler Harper. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you after spring break.